Hey. Right, so this is question of the week time. I realised I was getting so many kind of DMs and amazing questions from clients that are so relevant for everybody that I wanted to make it more of a weekly spot rather than doing it on an ad hoc basis. So please do send in your questions as they come up. But I wanted to start with this one today as it is one that's very, very close to my heart. So, why do I seem to chase unavailable people and want the love that is harder to get? When somebody who comes along who likes me, I end up picking them apart and getting the ick. Okay, I love this question. So relatable, and to be honest, this was me 5 or 6 years ago. Now, I think from my own experiences and also from a lot of what I see with clients, this can kind of come out in various situations. The most obvious situation for this type of scenario is you tend to actively go for the lads or the bad boys or somebody who is pretty obviously not in a place where they want to commit. And it feels a little bit more exciting. There's a little bit more drama involved. And they might even have a girlfriend. But I think in that situation, you tend to like very quickly categorize anybody who's not like that as boring or safe, or, you know, you would settle if you would be that person. Don't know if that resonates. Or it might be a little bit more subtle. And let's say you're dating people who you think are available, they seem pretty normal, you seem like relatively compatible with them, but you still end up in the same situation. So they still end up not wanting to commit, or they perhaps treat you badly, or that, you know, after kind of 3 months of dating, you haven't had any sort of conversation, you realise they're still dating loads of other people, you know, or potentially they don't even communicate. You know, you're kind of stuck in a situation where they are not giving you anything that you need within a kind of dating or relationship scenario. So when you're kind of wrapped up in either of those circumstances, you have your blinkers on, you're completely blindsided by it. So you potentially don't even notice other people who are around who could be available. So the big question, the $1 million question, why do we do it? Look, there's a lot of things I could talk about here, like in relation to attachment styles or self-worth and things like that, but I'm going to keep it simple. And in my experience, when we are consistently, and I mean consistently, whether as a pattern, going out with people or chasing people who, or only being interested in people who aren't available or who turn out not to want to be available, then it is because we're not available ourselves. You know, I think when we're chasing unavailable partners, or we're hypercritical of people who seem to be relatively healthy and secure, it's usually because on some level we're scared of intimacy, and we're scared of vulnerability, we're scared of opening up, we're scared of something real where actually we would be seen for ourselves. You know, sometimes I think, at least I used to feel like it was almost easier to put on a mask, you know, party girl, good time girl, like, you know, you'd be kind of going out and just sort of living through, a bit of a kind of lens of this is who people expect. It's your kind of mask in the world. You know, everything's a good story, everything's funny, and it means you don't actually ever have to be real, and you don't really get hurt. You might be, you know. I'm not saying you won't be seriously hurt by somebody that's unavailable, but you almost know how the story ends. So there is an element of self-protection in there. And I think what I've learned from my own work and from clients' work is where there is still a part of us that needs to be healed, we will do anything to avoid being with people that forces us to connect, because it keeps us relatively safe, as I've just said. Yeah, and I think ultimately, you know, when you're kind of closed off, as I was for years and years, without even realizing it, you know, I was super closed off, but running about being like, I want to fall in love, I want a relationship. you know, wasn't really ready for one, but that was my pattern. I think when you're pretty closed off and when you've got quite a closed heart, that acts as a barrier to love, because it actually ends up attracting more of what you kind of say you don't want. So when you shut off your heart and decide actually that the world is quite a dangerous place, and to love is to be hurt, and that, you know, everybody's going to screw you over, and, you know, all guys are dickheads, or there are no good guys left, which is something I hear all the time. Like, because of something that we've got called a confirmation bias, our brain and our whole being will go around and look for situations that are going to prove those beliefs right. So it becomes a very vicious kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it is relatively rare that, you know, kind of emotionally healthy and available people will be attracted to somebody with a closed heart who's playing games, who's not available themselves. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but more often than not, like attracts like. So I think that's why with clients, the first thing I'll always do is look at the patterns, look at what needs to be healed, you know, look at actually what is going on beneath the surface, because you can sit there and say you want a relationship till the cows come home, but like, healthy has to match healthy. You can't be in the kind of relationship you say you want to be in, but still be chasing people that you're not getting what you want from and that are making you miserable. So that's where it has to start. Like, you can't jump into the dating bit and that, you know, what are my boundaries, what are my standards? That has to actually come from kind of like what needs to be unpicked and what needs to be healed. So yeah, that is your pattern. That's where I suggest you start. Go get some help, like work with a coach, read books, listen to podcasts, you know, start unpicking actually how available you are and how ready you are for a relationship, and go from there. And if you want to work with me, one-to-one spots are open, which I'm so excited about. I think they got released on Tuesday, or it might have been Wednesday's Instagram blocked me or something. But yeah, link is in bio. And please drop me a DM from this video if there's anything you'd ever like to chat about, because as I said, it's a topic that's super, super close to my heart.